Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome to this live streaming. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And today we have our first public debate where we will discuss how artificial intelligence supports or disturbs the teaching profession. As in any debate, we have two teams. We have a team that we called AI Advocate, and we have a team that we called AI Reluctant. Let me introduce you our speakers for today's conversation. So in Team AI Advocate, we have Christian Vlasic, the CEO of Vocational Training Center from Burgenland, Austria. Hi, Christian, and welcome.
Hello and good evening, everybody.
Then we have Dr. Eli Eisenberg, Senior Research Fellow from Samuel Neiman Institute for National Policy Research, Israel. Welcome, Eli.
Welcome and good afternoon to everyone. Thank you.
So these two gentlemen and distinctive speakers will represent the team AI Advocate. Now we will pass to the team AI Reluctant. We have two speakers there. Let me introduce you, Robert Murphy, founder and principal education researcher from LVC Research from the United States. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you, Maria. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. And Daniele Fano, the founder of Skills Together. Hi, Daniele. Welcome.
Hi, Maria. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Maria.
And as you can see the screen, we also have our neutral observer, Fabio Nascimbengo from the European Training Foundation, that will come in with his comments as a neutral part in this debate. And most important participant of the live, of course, is you, our followers, who are watching us live or in recording, because you can take part in it. So please write your comments and your suggestions. Please let us know where are you watching us from. I see that people have started to join. Thanks for being with us today. So as in any debate, we will have a very structured format today. We will start with opening speeches that will last 1 minute per each expert. And then we will pass to some very interesting statements that we will try to either confirm or decide that they are not just. So with all my due respect, I would like to pass the floor to the team. We have decided to start from the team AI Advocate, and I would like to pass the floor to Christian. Christian, you will start. You have 1 minute, and I'm just telling you that I will interrupt because we really have a lot of people to speak today. Go, Christian.
Hello, everybody again. And my statement, so my opening statement is artificial intelligence can assist in vocational education in a variety of ways, regardless of your gender. And here's some ways AI can be used in teaching. First of all, a very important task we are using here in our facility is personalized learning path. AI can create individual learning path based on learners' needs and learning speed. And it makes it possible to create learning tasks to each individual's abilities and interests. It offers automated correction, maybe also virtual simulations, chatbots for support, and data analytics for personal improvement. And we are using AI already, and I'm already looking forward to different other kind of statements today.
Thank you so much, Christian. Now we keep with the team AI Advocate. Eli, the floor is yours.
Thank you again, Maria. And I would like to say that the train has already left the station. So it's not for us to decide if we want or we don't want to use generative AI. And some of our pupils and students are using generative AI already. And we as educators and teachers should know what they are doing, either preparing themselves for the lessons or for the assessment tools. Employers have already started that the graduates will master the knowledge and the skills required for using generative AI. I know that AI is quite threatening, but I believe as an educator that HI, human intelligence, will always be above AI and CI. And I would like to finish by telling you that I had the opportunity to live in South Africa when President Mandela came in, and I established a huge teacher training facility all over South Africa. And he used to tell me, Mandela, that our cognitive brain is moving very fast, but our heart is moving in a much slower rate. And therefore, we have to combine between our heart and our brain, between generative AI and our values, norms, and attitudes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Eli. So we've listened now to the team AI Advocate, and I think if I need to shortly sum up, it provides you the individual learning pathways, it gets you customized learning that is tailored to the needs, it gets you the virtual support talks. Fabio, you wanted to say something? No, okay. Then the pupils are already utilizing it, so it's far too late now to discuss whether we have to or not have to. So these are the points, let's say, of the team AI Advocate. And before I go to the other team, the AI Reluctant, I just would like to welcome people that have joined this conversation today. Milyenko actually saying, is the title Teachers versus AI a sort of small provocation? It is, and it is intentional. Anxela, hi from Albania. Vikram, good evening. Ilga, hello from Azerbaijan. Teresa, hi. Thanks for joining today. Then we have Vikram from India, Hedia from Tunisia. We have a person joining us from Armenia, Dr. Amal Youssef from Jordan. Hello from Croatia again. Alma from Albania. We have India here, Basaralo. Ioana from Romania, and Lucine from Armenia as well, Teresa from Angola, and Andrew from Malta. So now it's time to listen to our team AI Reluctant, and I would like to pass the floor to Robert. Robert, go.
Thanks, Maria. I agree with my esteemed panelists who just spoke out on the advocacy side of AI technologies. The train has left the station, and these technologies can be helpful if they address important problems that teachers face on a day-to-day basis, including the scoring and writing assignments and providing feedback to students on their writing, diagnosing student reading problems, these types of things. They can be very, very helpful for teachers. However, our concern is that these new tools that are becoming increasingly available, such as ChatGPT, will be a distraction to teachers in teaching and introduce challenges to the classroom, including the prevalence of plagiarism and other things that will rob students of the opportunities to develop critical thinking skills because they're over reliant on these technologies. The same for teachers as well. And so we'll get into this more as we discuss.
We will get it. Yes, in fact, I wanted to tell that nearly all the points that you mentioned, Robert, we will talk in detail about them. It's just now we're trying to get the statements from both sides. And now we have a second team member of AI Reluctant team, which is Daniele. Daniele.
Yeah, thank you, Maria. I thank you, Robert, as well. And I agree also with him and with Ellie that the train, of course, has left. But the question we have to ask is applying AI to education like having driving with Waze or Google Maps to an objective? Education, as we all know, is more complex. So the question is, could AI drive us to more slippery roads to education? And there are some hard facts I would like to talk to you about. They are well shown in the excellent OECD observatories. The first point is that average ability to understand contents in the world is stagnant or declining. So while digital abilities improve, literacy and numeracy test results are declining or at best stagnant. And AI is not only here to stay, we all agree on this, but its progresses are exponential. And just keeping up with the pace of innovation is an ever more difficult challenge, per se. Other facts: the dispersion of outcomes on tests, including computer and IT tests, is enormous. And so a lot of youngsters may just not be able to look critically at AI outputs, let alone understand them. So there are multiple divides that are increasing, not only in the ability of the best students to keep pace with innovation, but also with the number of students. So, what are the risks? Delegating to AI tasks may make the understanding of underlying logics more remote. Cheating may become easier, and also, it is true, more risky. Greater divides between higher quartile students and bottom quartile students may be increasing. And in this picture, what are the elements of optimism? Well, I think it is the intelligence and dedication of so many teachers that I really appreciate in my experience that are key. As
Daniela,
with the
I'm afraid I have to interrupt you there because
yes, surprising smartness of students and the support of intelligent and empathic parents. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Daniela. Sorry for interrupting because we have a big
No.
and packed agenda for today's conversation. Now, just to greet some newcomers that just joined us. I see Barbara from UK, Ashgar from Iran, and there is also already a question from a real teacher that we, of course, take on board. Then we have Abdallah from Algeria, and also another comment from Basaralo, which we take. Just give us a minute. I would like to. Now, we understood the positions of both teams, of both AI advocates and AI reluctants, and I would like to go to our first statement. It will be projected on the screen in a second, and I would like to hear the position of all our speakers. I think we will stick to the same order of speaking. So the statement is AI could become the Trojan horse that sneakily introduces biases, misinformation, and fake data into education. Now, let's start with Christian. Christian.
Yeah, my statement here is I think that our facility is not afraid of the Trojan horse because we do not think that AI will replace any teacher. But what it helps a lot is that the work of our teachers and the training staff is speeded up. So you can do the preparation for our training classes in a much better way than you had the chances a year ago. And therefore, you always have the human power who filters the AI converted or transformed content, and also always takes care that there is no fake news or bias or misinformation in our training classes. So I see the work of our teachers not affected in a negative way by AI, but it's a big support for our daily work.
Thank you, Christian. Thanks for being also short. Eli, what is your reaction to the statement?
Yes, I would like to advocate again that AI, generative AI, is just another technology, maybe much more disruptive, but we have to look about the skills and competencies which we have to educate our students before AI was started and particularly after. Because, for example, skills and competencies such as problem solving and critical thinking or teamwork, where we can include generative AI as a partner of the team, as a member of the team, and to see how should we communicate not just between human beings, but interact between human beings and machines, which are already do in our normal life. So it's not new. The only thing that I should think we should put much more emphasis on is to link, to connect, and to learn about generative AI with the skills and competencies which are required. I just want to finish that Minerva University in the United States made a wonderful work, study, research on this connection between skills and generative AI. And I really recommend everyone to read it and to see, because I
Thank you.
can elaborate now.
Thank you, Elliot. Thank you. In fact, there is one comment coming, I think, from an actual teacher. Unfortunately, I can't see the name, but the person writes, is somebody who just made a video for teachers on how to use AI to save themselves hours of work. I hope speakers do take into consideration the workload that goes well beyond what teachers are paid for. In England, I was paid 32.5 hours a week, but I could work upwards of 50 or more. In my opinion, AI shouldn't become a replacement, but used as a support for workload, trying new work, and becoming more technologically fluent. I think it comes really with our team AI advocates, actually. So thanks a lot for this comment. But now I would like to hear the AI reluctant opinion. Robert, is there any secret recipe or a silver bullet how we can avoid having misinformation in AI, let's say, context?
Right, right. I think the introduction of bias and misinformation, fake data into education due to the use of tools like ChatGPT and generative AI is a real concern. Without the proper checks and quality controls in place, if teachers and textbook publishers become overly reliant on AI technology to generate lessons, question prompts, and even textbooks, and don't have the time, resources to check the accuracy of the information, then for certain, students will be exposed to inaccurate and misinformation. Teachers are already, as the teacher stated just now, teachers are already overburdened, have tremendous workloads, and now they'll be forced to do the fact checking. Maybe at the textbook level, if the textbook publisher didn't do that level of quality control on information that was generated for the textbook by generative AI. So those are the concerns. I think they're real concerns and need to be addressed.
Thank you. Daniele, anything to add to what Robert just said?
No, this is a key point. I think there is a way out, which is difficult, however. And you should be able to check the sources. A good engine of generative AI should have reliable sources, public sources, and more than one source. And students should be trained to check the sources and also be able to look at different sources to cross-check. And of course, this is very important. The regulators are looking at that around the world in very different ways. So China is one story, US is another story, and Europe is another story again.
Thank you, Daniele. Thank you. And in fact, we have a question from Dr. Barbara van der Eycken, who says, do you foresee a future, and that one I will actually make it to Fabio, do you foresee a future where some pure knowledge course in colleges won't be required anymore, and college will be about deeper conversations and those softer employability skills, and I would add from my side, critical thinking that both Robert and Daniele just mentioned. Fabio.
No, you're asking me the most difficult question. Unbundling and actually system change. I have to say I don't have an answer. I would like to see a future where the time of teachers and the mind of teacher is used for the high level teaching, whilst the routine work, of course, is done by machines. But actually, the thing I really liked about the debate until now, which actually makes me feel not so bad since I don't have an answer to the question, is that the issue of critical thinking and the issue of teachers' time have been used both by advocates and by reluctants, sort of. So, meaning that critical thinking can be put in danger by an excessive use of AI or an excessive trust, but is also needed at the same time and can also be, let's say, created for post-digital society.
Fabio, the ideal situation would be that every single statement done by AI would be analyzed, because you can't trust any of it, and every single thing should be checked. is
Yeah.
an ideal situation, but it will never happen like that. Let's be realistic.
Exactly. And this, brings me to the idea also of the time, the teacher's time. Before in the question before was about this, teachers are overworking everywhere in the world. And actually, we have people from India. I was reading this morning on the teachers stressed in countries like India, which we know very, very well in Europe. But again, Europe is one story and other countries are another. So I don't have an answer. What I can just say is that surely, from what we hear now, the impact, whether positive, negative, or mitigated, is can reach the system level, as it was pointed by the.
Thank you, Fabio. And then actually, there is a comment from one of our followers, Hedia, and she says students must be aware that AI does not always give the right answer. So it's also she speaks about assessment, and here I would like to come to the second statement that we prepared, which is plagiarism will be widely present through all levels of education. And AI tools will bring education quality down because not only the students will forget that the right answer is not there, but they will also just copy paste what is there. And I tell you, I literally have cases in front of me of kids from high school that just go to ChatGPT and ask to write an essay, and then there is no way a teacher can check whether it's ChatGPT or not. So let's start again with AI advocates and again with Christian. Christian, what do you think about the problem of plagiarism?
Yeah, from my point of view, I think what we hear now in the other statements, teachers are getting more time for their preparation for the training and the classes. And I think the most important thing is that teachers also have to, with this more time they should focus more on their students and to work and interact with the students. And I think one task should be that the complexity of and application for tasks should be designed to require deep understanding of course material and emphasize the ability to apply knowledge to new situations. So this makes it difficult to regenerate AI answers, and I think the teachers should also bring up an openness to discussion and reflection in their classes. So assignments could be worded to encourage open discussions and written reflections, and they would encourage individual, so more focusing on individual opinions and critical thinking, as we already had in other statements. And also a more project-based approach. So project tasks that require longer completion time could also encourage the more collaboration and actual understanding of the content from the students. And I think the interaction between teacher and students should be increased in classes so that you are not focusing on AI pre-created content beforehand. That's my opinion, and that's how we are trying to work in our classes.
Thank you, Christian. Eli.
Yes, I fully agree that AI should be an assistant to the teacher, just reflect what was said before, and should leave much more time for the teacher to promote, to educate our students with high-level thinking order, for example, like creativity and deep critical thinking and so on. But here about plagiarism, I would like to quote a Japanese expert data analyst, and it is taken from UNEVOC of UNESCO. I'm quoting, "The volume of data produced by modern research equipment is enormous. AI offers a way to analyze the data at a scale and depth that were previously impossible, thus paving the way for new areas of research and discovery." So here we advocate that the data analytical work will be much better. And I just want to mention one example of Bing, of Microsoft. It's a AI tool which gives you, I just used it today, all the sources, and you can see what are more reliable and what less reliable sources. And I want to say something, I want to elaborate on it. that it's not just the resource, but it's also about how much you trust and how much you are in favor of the resource you are using. I won't elaborate on it, but it has a lot to do with fake news and other resources and plugins. Thank you.
Thank you, Eli. In fact, one of our followers, Barbara, she says, but we actually check everything in the books at the moment. I think that the printing, I see nodding, I see, but there is a quality check for the books. So there must be a quality check for what is
I'm not sure.
an AI. And actually, just to take Lucine's comments, that she says AI can be used as a teacher assistant. That's what Christian and Ellie just said. For instance, a language teacher can make different stories in different tenses on AI platforms, and these texts can be used. Now, I would like to go to the group of AI reluctant, because Robert, we are actually based in Italy, and here for several months AI was prohibited to use in school, and then I think the restrictions were lifted. So, do you think there is any recipe that we can avoid plagiarism, or we can tackle it somehow, Robert?
Yeah, well, thank you, Maria. The student plagiarism and cheating on extended writing and research assignments has always been a concern, particularly in the upper grade levels. This is nothing new. However, technologies like ChatGPT will only make cheating more prevalent across all grade levels, not just the upper grade levels. That's the concern. And unfortunately, these technologies are not effective at detecting plagiarism created by these technologies. There's some recent research out about these detectors, and they are very inaccurate and ineffective. My fear is that students who become overly reliant on these technologies for their writing and research assignments will be robbed of opportunities to develop important writing, communication, critical thinking, and creative skills. That's the concern that we have.
Thank you, Robert. Daniela, anything to add?
Yeah. I mean, the difficulty is that whoever has used these instruments sees that they really write well.
They are,
they
indeed.
it's amazing, right? So I'm going back to a point that also Ellie mentioned, the sources. I mean, being able to discuss the sources and to analyze them. This is, I think, an essential training for students. That is not easy, however. But the other point is, okay, but rediscover the classroom. Have people discuss case studies, and then you will see if the she or he has just copied, or if they got into the heart of the matter. And an expert in innovation and IT in a conference I attended said, they asked him, how can we train students to new technologies? And he said, throw away the computers, throw away the smartphones, read a lot of books, use the pencil and paper to make math, and develop imagination.
Thank you,
So
Daniela. I'm not sure
best
though about the reaction of students to that, but we will come back actually to the dilemma between students and teacher in a minute. It's just to add, I think we have one of the users actually who is, I think, would participate in our AI reluctant, or maybe not. AI is an ocean which death can never be measured. It can be life-threatening deep down there. It's a really nice metaphor. But I would like to maybe pass the floor to Fabio. Fabio, anything to comment on this statement?
Yeah, just to comment on the fact that, I spend part of my days reading about this debate from scientific and policy viewpoint. What I notice is that the plagiarism, which is, of course, the plagiarism issue, which is, of course, a great concern of teachers every day, especially of those teachers who don't really understand what's going on. I mean, it's not something easy to understand. Seems to me was the first main issue, the first big thing, and first problem, obviously. But now, as was mentioned before, this thing to me is a bit going at the second level. So it's not so much the main issue now. I think to me now the main issue has to do more, with other more substantial things like the impact of artificial intelligence on the teaching per se, on the knowledge development and so on. Now, plagiarism is an issue, surely, but I don't think this is today the main issue when we look at the quality of education with respect to AI. It is still there. It must be kept in mind. But in my understanding, and I like some of the comments thinking about suggesting new ways, new tools and ways of teaching and assessing completely. This is new. We're talking about new education somehow. So I think that is really the direction the debate is going, of course.
Thank you, Fabio. In fact, I would like to take our next statement and change it slightly, but if I can ask our producers to project it. So AI and automation will take over. Yes, AI in education will take over the basic teaching task and own an even high level ones. I think we all agree that AI can be an assistant of a teacher, but I have a different question to all of the speakers, because from our conversation, it seems that we put even more responsibility on teacher shoulders. So first there was COVID, and we asked them to switch from one day to another, from physical to online. And now there is AI revolution, and we ask them all of a sudden to become professional users of AI. And at the same time, there is a pressure because I think the pupils are already using it and know much more than actually the teachers. So aren't we putting a lot of pressure on our teachers? Let's start with Christian. Christian.
Of course, we are putting a lot of pressure on our teachers. So what we, for instance, did in our training institution was that we at the beginning of the year we gave AI introduction classes, how to use AI in training, because they didn't know it and they didn't have the time and the knowledge to train themselves. So we gave them classes, and we have to. Also, this is my personal opinion, we also have to guide our trainers how to use AI and how to also teach our students how to use it. And it's better to make AI part of our education and training classes instead of just seeing negative parts of AI.
Thank you, Christian. Ele, what do you think? Are we asking the impossible from the teachers here?
Yes, we always asked, and I remember from the very beginning, teachers were always complaining, and I already said that if there was a Nobel Prize for teachers, it will be the first one who will save time and not put more time for teachers to be trained. So first of all, I think, as I said in my earlier statement, that our brain is moving and will move much faster than our heart, and we have to understand it. In the professional development of teachers in service training, it must be part of their teaching. We must understand that students must work much on themselves, self-learning, self-directed learning, and teachers will have to be trained on a normal basis, really in their work time, and not just outside the work time. So I just want to say that for me, an example of personalized education, which could really enable teachers to put more time for development, Khan University in the United States is a wonderful example how to personalize education so using generative AI. You can look at it, and they have already a Khan Academy AI tutor, which is called Flamingo. So I want again talk more about it, but it will save time for the teacher rather than putting more time on his work.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Robert, is there anything we can do with this gap between teachers and pupils? That pupils are learning super fast and they already are good users of AI, and maybe some teachers are more reluctant and therefore they are not feeling confident in using AI. Is there any recipe, Robert?
Well, I think AI will be accepted and trusted by teachers if it addresses low-level tasks for teachers that are extreme burdens on teachers, and free them up for the things that teachers do best. So I think AI can be helpful for some low-level tasks like the grading of writing assignments, creating prompts for assessments, draft prompts, draft lesson plans, things of that nature for teachers, so that teachers can be free to focus on the higher level and the most important tasks of teaching, such as leading classroom discussions and debates, working with students one-on-one on their individual learning needs, providing detailed feedback on student work, and providing the social, emotional, behavioral supports that students need. Those high-level tasks, I don't think are going to be replaced anytime soon by AI. And any tool out there that claims they will support teachers or will take over these roles, I think you have to look very carefully at the evidence they have backing those claims.
Thank you, Robert. Daniele.
No, I think Robert got the point very well, and human capital in education cannot be replaced. I mean, it's very important. It's challenged by this train that is already going, and the challenge is open.
Fabio, we listen a lot about the time constraints of teachers. Do you think AI really? Well, first, teachers would need to invest, of course, in learning how to use it and all of that. But do you think that at the long term, it will save time for teachers,
Well,
that they will spend more with pupils and more with customized training for the pupils?
it might save time, but as was recently written by the Global Education Monitoring Report by UNESCO, AI, as any kind of technology, should not be used in order to decrease investment in teacher training, recruitment, and so on. So we run the risk that following this technology that for sure can make some processes smoother. We see it as a way, to decrease the work of teachers in terms of time. So I think it's delicate. Every time I hear about teachers' pressure, teachers' time, and the impact of technology, I think it's a bit delicate. Again, time together as well as critical thinking has been quoted by both teams. So it is again, this shows how the debate is really.
Not a debate.
It's not a debate. It's still, let's say, a friendly chat about an issue that we are trying to understand, sort of.
Okay. Now, I'm having in my pocket a little surprise to all of you and to our speakers that have not been informed about it. So actually, we asked the ChatGPT generated avatar to intervene today as well. So we'll give the voice to something we are discussing today. We're giving the voice to ChatGPT, and I would like to ask our producers to put the intervention of the AI.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed educators and fellow learners, I am an avatar created by ChatGPT to participate in this debate about AI and its impact on teachers' life. Thanks for inviting me. First of all, I'd like to stress that I am designed to be a tool that can assist and complement teachers rather than a threat to their profession. While some argue that AI threatens teachers, actually I have the potential to be an invaluable tool revolutionizing education. By automating administrative tasks and grading, I can enable teachers to focus on personalized learning, creativity, and critical thinking. As discussed today, critical thinking is essential when using AI in education because it helps you think carefully, identify false information, make good choices, and learn more effectively. Through AI-powered adaptive learning platforms, teachers can provide personalized learning experiences, ensuring every student reaches their fullest potential. By working alongside AI, educators can access vast amounts of data, gain insights, and leverage technology to constantly improve teaching strategies and student outcomes. On another hand, we have to recognize that I can bring many shortcomings into teachers' life. As discussed today, jobs insecurity, plagiarism, insufficient training of teachers in combination with the widespread use of AI by learners can pose significant threats for the teaching profession. The key to minimize potential threats is the regulation. Regulating AI is essential to ensure that its development and deployment align with ethical, legal, and societal norms. I'd like to thank both teams, AI Advocate and AI Reluctant, for this thought-provoking debate. I really enjoyed it. Goodbye.
Fantastic.
Now, reactions. I will tell you my reactions at the end. Let's start with Christian. What do you think?
I'm kind of impressed how well it worked, and how well the of all of our statements were kind of summarized. So it's, you see, it works very well, and this also, again, my point also from the beginning, as AI can support and give a good overview on topics, and the teachers can focus more on their students. I think that this is should be in our focus, and we try to implement that in our daily learning, and hopefully it will be a benefit to, as well as teachers and as well as learners. Yeah.
Thank you, Christian. Eli, what do you think about the intervention of AI?
I think it's fantastic. I already mentioned that in teamwork, we should have, in any team, we should have a partner of a ChatGPT, so we can learn how to, because everything is not just about HI and AI, it's also CI, which is collaborative intelligence. I won't elaborate on it now, but I was amazed. It makes the lesson much more enjoyable and interesting, especially for the next generation. And we have to always remember that we have to get salaries and to save money for our families. So either we decide to use it or not, the employers are already waiting for our graduates, and they should have and master some knowledge and skills of AI. So our main challenge is how to make it properly. As she said, with regulation, with law, with norms,
She was good,
ethical,
eh?
fantastic. And she just take what I wrote before. Maybe she has some other eyes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eli. Robert, but if we can have AI summarizing our lectures, why bother why bother participating in lectures?
Yeah, I mean, I found the demonstration very compelling, very convincing. It's having the avatar speak the words. It makes you have confidence in what is being presented. Maybe false confidence, right? And I noticed the use of buzzwords like revolutionize education. Like, how many times have we heard about technologies coming that are going to revolutionize education, and yet we still see tremendous inequities and tremendous skill gaps and stagnation in skill development, despite 40, 50 years of technology in the classroom, right? So it's interesting how compelling and convincing the presentation is.
Have you seen the hands? The hands were.
Yeah, but there's so much nuance, and it felt to me more like a CNN soundbite than a critical analysis, which you wouldn't necessarily expect in a couple minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Daniele. Your reaction?
No, thank you, Maria. That was great. No, what I really liked is that our critical elements were not rebuted, but were taken in, and so maybe there is scope for addressing those community elements that Ellie talked about, and although also those inequality elements that Robert just mentioned that are so important, and we have to work on that a lot. And so from my critical perspective, this is good news.
Fabio, I felt a bit creepy about AI summarizing our conversation practically live.
Yeah.
How did you feel about it?
Well, I let's say I was of course impressed as the others, but I tend to share Robert's viewpoint that when something is so good and so well done, you tend to concentrate on the superficial messages, and of course, you don't really focus. And now, are we sure that summary was exactly, was as neutral as a neutral person could have done it? So sometimes I think we're still in that infancy phase of this technology, at least for the big public, where we are really thrilled by what it can do, and we will be for some time, because it seems as things are actually getting even more interesting in the next months and years. But again, where is the depth? You know, maybe I'm not saying it wasn't deep, but if there was a comment before on who checks the textbooks, and the comment also on open educational resources, and the fact that even before AI, people could cheat with no problem thanks to the web. So it all comes down to the issue of trust. And my feeling, let me be a bit over humanistic, is that it's easier to trust a person, you know, name and surname, because we can always go back to that person, and you know that book was written by that person. Now, if that book was written by you don't know whom, it gets a bit more complicated. You know, I'm just, you know, being super simple. And then yeah, there is also then the issue discussed about who should be governing this, but this is another very
This
big,
is another, indeed.
big
Thank you, Fabio.
ongoing.
In fact, I have a question for our followers. If you watched us live today or you're watching the recording, please let us know if you would like to have a second part, because there are so many aspects we had no time to touch upon today. There are AI regulation. There is one comment actually from Barbara in the chat. What does it mean for the tech poor countries? There, I think the digital divide is going to become a very big problem. So I think we have touched really a tip of an iceberg with today's conversation. I would like to thank all of our speakers. Thanks a lot to Christian Vlasic. Thank you, Eli Eisenberg. Thank you, Robert Murphy. Thank you, Daniele. Thank you, Fabio. And please let us know if you liked it, and we will make a second part of this debate if it's going to be of an interest. Thanks to everyone, and stay tuned because there is much more to come. Thank you, colleagues.
Bye.
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 Ciao.
Ciao.